Hey guys, Jason Jeffries here for the Alliance Project. Have a different kind of show for you today. We're going to go over a few things. I wanted to share something with you according to the last show. So let me go ahead and get right to the point here. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you guys something. I got my jade and onyx meditation beads. Very, very cool. I have a nice, cool story to go with them. Actually, I'll share that later. I got a jade ring. I don't have a light handy, or do I? I might. I do. I forgot. I have a phone. But yeah, today I want to go over some astrology, some facts, some evidence. I want to present some Da Vinci codes type stuff, right? Starting to see a cool pattern and synchronicities. So we're going to share that. Trying to get a good angle. There we go. That's pretty cool, right? Glows. Traditionally, jade brings good luck and helps ward off evil spirits or negative energies. Onyx is a really grounding stone that helps connect one back to their body. It's very powerful with for your body. Grounding. Okay, so we're gonna go right into it. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. You have astrology, and then you have astrology. You have something that's called sidereal astrology, and then you have tropical astrology. I believe that the original astrology was based off sidereal astrology, and the people who were learning the basics only looked at it from a very narrow viewpoint and didn't see that the clock was always changing. Every 2,000 years it'd be in a different symbol. Most people do realize this, and there's lots of sites out there. But if you go to enter yourself into a natal birth chart, it's going to give you a printout of what the procession looked like 2,000 years ago, not on your birth date. So what we do is we enter our birth date here. Let me put this at the top. There's you can go right to the time if you want, but that matters not, as I'll show you in a minute. And then you just click there, blam. You can do this in lots of, the stellarium is really accurate for it. You want to go to the east, and you want to pull it up. So there you go. If you went by the newspaper, it would say the sun rose in Taurus. Okay, but that was what it did 2,000 years ago. The sun is obviously rising in Aries on my birthday, and I'm actually closer to a Pisces than I am a Taurus. So take it as you will. But yeah, it shows you that I have Jupiter ascending. Cool movie. Mercury ascending. There's Comet Inky. I have Mars, all right, up here in conjunction with Aries, which is supposed to give you, supposed to enhance your physical body, your things like that. Your physical nature will be stronger than others, especially when those two are in conjunction with each other. It's things like that. But yeah, I could show you where all the houses exist. What I was thinking about doing is, if you guys wanted a star chart read, your real astrology chart, and I'll do all 12 houses, all the planets, their meanings, how they do in conjunction. And I'm trying to actually figure out, well, I have it figured out, but I can actually print you off a chart that you can take to psychics or astrologers or anyone. You can print it off, share it, and look at it. But thinking of doing that for a small fee if anybody's interested. It takes a couple hours, so that's the only reason I've asked. And yeah, something cool to do, something new for the show. Had a couple people say that they'd want to do that. So yeah, if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, email me, message me, whatever you got to do. And we're going to try to set up this. I've already done 2, and people are amazed. So there you go. So yeah, there's that part. Let me go ahead and close this down. Okay, so we're going to go over some evidences and drawings and pictures. We're going to do some like Da Vinci Code stuff here, right? So we go through the petroglyphs of the Southwest people, Native American cultures. I notice the eyes, there's an aura emanating around the head, and the hands waving, right? Lots of them show these auras around these beings. Right, there's one of the, I believe, the ant people. So if you look back at the pictures of the Anunnaki, they had these horned helmets, right? Ooh, that was a good one. There you go. Okay. They even had pictures of saucer-like objects, which by the Native American culture said that these 2 disc-like objects collided in the sky above Death Valley. Right here, these two objects supposedly crashed into each other in the sky above Death Valley, and that's Native American folklore, tradition, oral story, just a story, but nonetheless, they have no reason to share it if it's not true, right? Okay, so we found more cave drawings in different parts of the world that had other beings with halos around their heads and auras around them. There's a few that if you take an artist's re-representation of the same thing, it just shows humans dressed in weird clothing, kind of like hunting animals, using different kinds of tools or weapons. And they always have this halo around their heads, right? Like, there's like Poseidon. He's got the halo around his head. You see the idea there. And then you get to these kind of pictures. Let me show you the horned helmets, things like that. It's the same representation, right? Over and over. There's Inky, Neptune, the water bearer. There's the eagle, right? But yeah, this stuff's all over the world, right? So we find a lot of these ancient ones. There's one specifically in France that has it's full of wildlife, and there's little disc-shaped objects flying around the animals and this and that. They have one that shows like 4 or 5 beings surrounding a woman, and then another being watching them from above as if they were abducting them. Really weird. Trying to find this one. So you have all the animals, and then there's like disc-shaped objects flying around the animals. This isn't the best representation of it, but you can clearly see it in many senses. This repeating theme. I like that one. That one's pretty neat. All right, so these ones are called the Wangina, and they're paintings that obviously depict an aura around a creature that has very shallow or no mouth, and a large cranium, enlarged eyes, and a funny little nose. They all have auras around their heads. Look a lot like gray aliens to me. But this is a reoccurring theme. These Wangina. Okay, so this one's a 12th century painting from 2 nights during the Crusades. It happened during the Saxon sacking of trying to think. It was a siege at the French castle of Seeburg. They depicted seeing 2 UFOs in the sky. So there's one of the nights, and there's the other night. One was pointing at it, and the one seen it above. UFOs. Very, very apparent. They literally were depicting seeing this UFO in the sky above them the day the siege happened. The night the siege happened, should I say. It should be noted that when the Saxons seen this flaming, floating disc in the sky, they fled in fear, and it ended the conflict. All right, so here's a 10th century Tibetan Sanskrit scroll, basically. It's a text, and it had a picture in it, and it showed this man and these 2 floating cylindrical objects. He described them in great detail. He described them as double-decked cylindrical aircraft with portals in the dome, and that they were flying around. Specifically said they flew at the speed of the wind. This painting was painted in the 1350s. It's called a fresco painting. It's in Kosovo, Yugoslavia, and it's called the Crucifixion. If you look above to the left and the right, you see 2 disc-like objects in the sky that appear to have men driving them. There's the men driving the disc-shaped objects. Okay. Recurring theme here. Okay, so this one's 15th century French tapestries depicting the life of Mary. If you notice in both of them, there's little disc-shaped objects in the sky. Okay. This painting was painted between 1340 and 1395. It's at the National Gallery in London, and it shows some pretty crazy stuff. Disc-like object, like sending a signal down this divine dove into this woman's head, right? This message, dove, messenger, right? There's a message being beamed to this woman. This one's called the Madonna. And you can clearly see a disc-shaped object in the back. Not only that, there's a man back here standing with his hand over his head, looking up at the object. This one's a 17th century fresco. Shows two UFOs under the armpits of Christ at the crucifixion. That's what the discs look like. If you look close to them, you can see that there's a face in them. That's the close-up of the one I just showed you, the Madonna. I'll show you one more. That's one. As you can see, there's an object in the sky radiating down onto these people, onto the Christ child. So that's the star the wise men followed was a UFO. A lot to think about. So this is what I was talking to you about in earlier videos about this, the forbidden knowledge, right? You see, this is called Atlanta and Hippomines. Hippomines. You see, there's a golden apple in their hand. Going to pick up another golden apple. All right, so this one's called the Judgment of Paris, and he holds a golden apple. Okay, the forbidden fruit, the truth about man's origins. This one, Judgment of Paris Large, it's just flopped and they do the same thing. It's a recurring theme. He's showing the golden apple. All right, remember Eve, bit from the forbidden knowledge. Remember her feminine energy, her way of thinking, took to this idea easier than the male way of thinking. And the man just followed their way. This one's called Iden and the Apples. And here you have the same thing, right? As we'd say, a core similarity. This one's called the Fall of Hercules in the Garden of Hesperides. And as you see, the golden apple, the serpent. And we're just going to go through some more here. The golden apples, golden apples. Golden apples, golden apples, golden apples. Serpents and golden apples. Those eggs and golden apples, golden apples, golden apples, golden apples. The tree was the gift of the earth that given to Hera and Zeus the day of their wedding. Hera gave the nymphs the task to protect this precious tree and its fruits. Also, Ladon the dragon had the task to control the guardians of the apples, and he did it wrapping around the tree. Forbidden. It's funny, forbidden knowledge. There we go. Tree, golden apples. many paintings at this core similarity, right? Okay, so when you were playing the game Assassin's Creed 2, when an unnecessary part of the game that was just in there for filler and it was just backstory and it was hidden and actually very hard to complete was finding these similarities in these paintings. And each time you solved another piece of the riddle, you got another clip. So I'll show you what the clip did after you put the clip together. I think you guys will really like this. Oh, you'll see the connection.
I have it. Eve.
Okay, so I showed the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, and they stole the golden apple, the forbidden knowledge. All right, now in the game, this apple, these spheres, they were golden, and these progenitors of our race, these creators, came here. The Anunnaki essentially came here, and they had these spheres they used to control our consciousness. It projected a lower wave. It was like the flower of life that Beth was talking about, projecting a low wave frequency to keep us enslaved, right? Anybody that's good at binary, let's solve this real quick. Let me, I guess I could type it in. Decode. Okay, so we want 01, 1000, 101 space. 1100 space. 1101. 1001 and 0100. Okay, so when you decode that, what does it say? It says Eden. So they just put this hidden thing in a game, a puzzle that you have to solve, collect all 20 pieces, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just to collect. And then when you piece the puzzles together correctly, you get video, that video pieces together, and then at the end it says this in binary code. And I just found that out live, real time with you. So there you go. Let's see if we can find the ones about control. try this one. And by the way, in the Assassin's Creed game, I don't know if you're familiar with them. But the whole thing is loaded with Masonic things. Literally like straightforward Masonic symbolism. What have you. Alright. So it's giving us a computer program that's running execution.
There's nothing here.
Strange. I'm seeing a massive amount of data. What does he mean? The miracle is in the execution?
I don't know. Some kind of commentary on nihilism? He's playing with us. Unless...
It is a video. Hang on. Launch it yourself when you're ready.
I'm almost done. Sorry, I didn't know this was happening.
Compiling subsystems, infrastructure, tendons, heart.
Voice. Subject 16. Yes. Yes. Subject 17. You're dead. I saw your blood. No time. It is far later than you know. Too late to save them. Who? She is not who you think she is. Everything you hope to become, everything you hold dear, it's already gone. Explain. Please. Eden. She. In Eden. Find Eve. The key. Her DNA. Tell me. I cannot. Son. Your son. Too weak. Must replenish energy. Don't go. I am with you till the end. Find me in the darkness.
Okay, so that was part of it. Now I want to just...
Wasted centuries, and so you have lost your chance. You cannot hope to stop the end now, Desmond. Only to survive. She's lying!
Who? She is not who you think she is. Everything you hope to become, everything you hold dear, it's already gone.
It is done.
So sorry about that. I'm trying to find the ones. Okay, so here's a quick breakdown. As he shares, I'll just kind of see if I
Apple
agree.
was
I guess.
created by the people of the first civilization. If you want to learn more about the first civilization or the Isu, click here on screen or in the description for my video about them. But it was created by the first civilization to control humans and use them as slaves or a workforce. This piece of Eden is what sparked the war between the human and the Isu when Adam and Eve stole one. The pieces of Eden were the only real things which survived the Toba catastrophe and so continued to live on with the world. The humans began to recover these artifacts and caused a split of sides within humanity based on the mindset of the people. The Assassins, who sought to use these pieces of Eden for knowledge and guidance, and the Templars, who wanted to use these pieces of Eden for control and to bring about their new world order. This caused many decades of battle between the two orders, fighting over the many pieces of Eden, but most of all was the Apple of Eden. The apples were designed to create illusions and control human minds, even turned thoughts into reality, as once stated by Juno. There were many users of the apple throughout history, including George Washington, Napoleon Bonaparte, and Adolf Hitler. The Isu added a small part of the human brain to make them susceptible to the apple. Only those with mixed DNA were immune to this, however this was only the mind and not the body. From Washington's use of the apple, we can see that the apple can also deal damage as well as control minds by sending out a pulse of energy to harm the victim. It is also able to conjure illusions when not being used. As we can see, it sets up an illusion for Washington to tempt him to use the apple to reign over America as king. It's presumed that all apples can also be used with the Staff of Eden, however, the only time we ever see this is in Assassin's Creed 2 when Ezio uses it to open the vault. The apple also contains knowledge.
The Staff of Eden is the same staff that Inky carried in most of the most of the Sumerian tablets, where they gave us this skunky digging stick, they said. And also is the same thing in the movie 10,000 BC, which is the time of the cataclysm. It's the same, the Great White Spear.
On the first Civ and their technology. You can see this from the war machines Leonardo developed using the apple, and also the codex pages which were created by Altair. There are several known apples. Apple 1, the first user.
Okay, so I'm going to share one quick piece about this, and I hope you guys like this. All right. So when you solve this at the end of like 3 or 4 games, when you put all the puzzles and pieces of the truth together, it gives you this.
In the beginning, when we thought we could be saved, we sought to face the sun's wrath and contain it. 4 towers would be built to pull her fury into this place and dispel it. But even with all we knew, with all we had, it would take too long. 1,000 years we could labor, and still the work would not be done. The first tower was never completed. The project abandoned. We moved on. But while we labored on other endeavors, a few returned. They thought to automate the process. Metal might finish what flesh could not. If we could not meet the sun's cruel embrace, perhaps we might rebuke it. Already we could generate fields to protect us in times of strife. But these were small and simple things. To replicate them on a scale the size of a world, we lack the energy to make it so.
The
Half the
Merkaba.
world, they said then. It is better than
We're talking about what they did to Mars and how they blew off the atmosphere. Essentially, it's the same thing I was telling you about earlier. This parallels everything you can find in real history about Atlantis and the Sumerian cultures.
And none at all. We tried. Again, we failed. A quarter, they asked. Even this we could not do. A sixth, an eighth, a tenth, they cried. The answer was still the same. Perhaps in time the city might be spared. But it was time we did not have. So we moved on. What is a fact? Is it fixed? Immutable? Certain in its existence and only awaiting discovery? Or might it be changed? Here we heard the answer and thought that it might save us. They were used to command, to control, to own. But we soon discovered another use. When enough sat in thrall and were told to believe, their thoughts took on form. What was imagined became real. If 100 minds could wish away a wall or create a tree, what might 1,000 do? 10,000 more? Might we change the consensus and will the spread away?
So they're talking about the collective consciousness, steering the collective consciousness. They could use it for control, but they also realized that they could use it for good, beneficial purposes. Literally, like willing away the bad situation, you know? Kind of like the spaceship that's below the Sphinx that Thoth tells us about.
We resolved to send one into the sky where it might illuminate us all. Once placed, a sentence would be uttered.
That's what they're talking about.
Make us safe. In this way, we would change the consensus. We would save the world. But it never came to be. We sent a dozen of them skyward, but there was no way to maintain control, to direct the beam, to enthrall the world, to speak the words. Though this was strange and dangerous, what we tried next was worse. Our first instinct was to travel back, to change the past, but we could not find a way. But forward, we could look forward, and so here we sought to see beyond ourselves and know what was to come. First, we wanted to learn if our work would succeed, but the answer was always the same, so we moved on to other things. But she remained, the one you call Minerva. In time, she too stopped looking, and instead began to speak. She called out across time in the hopes that you might be saved. She hid messages where none might find them, save for you and those within this place.
Fascinating. Tired of it. The cryptic warnings, the threats. Just tell us what you want. But they are. We saw the net there. We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes and we look the same to them. Imagine trying to explain all this to a 2-year-old, to a grasshopper. And they said the will of the gods was unknowable. They meant it. Literally. I killed her, you know. I killed Lucy. It was the apple, son. It was true. I saw what she was. What would happen if I let her live? I could have stopped myself. I mean, there was a force there. But I didn't have to. I chose to. Desmond, Lucy was going to betray us and take the apple back to Abstergo. I saw the satellite launched. I saw them turn it on, and then failed. Whatever's on the other side of that door, it benefits Juno. We need to be careful.
A new world approached, one that was dark and cold. It would consume us, for we were flesh, and flesh is frail. Though suits and shields might offer comfort, such adornments would not suffice, not to save us all. So we sought to change what we were. In this manner, we might thrive in a world made poisonous. It was Aita who volunteered to see if it might be done. Aita, my husband, my love. In the end, it changed him, ruined him. He was made a prisoner of the machines. The body might survive, but his mind became brittle to the touch. He begged me for release, for days, for weeks, for months. I pleaded with him to give us time to find another way. But there wasn't one. Not for him. Not for us. What is consciousness but a series of electrical impulses? And the body a vessel to hold these sparks. But it is weak. In time, it decays and crumbles as dust. We asked ourselves then, what if it might be replaced with something stronger, something better? So we forged a new vessel, one that might endure. It proved easy enough to enter. But to leave required something more, something wrong. And so this too they abandoned. I wondered, though, were they right to turn away?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. Our right to freedom, our land, and our way of life. We will die for what we believe in. We cannot be stopped. We will never back down. Because a life without freedom is not a life worth living. Give us liberty or give us death.
So wow, it's pretty deep, huh? Even weirder that if you've been following the channel, what I showed you in the texts and the books and the stories, and then you see it in this. Just one more thing before we go. So I don't know if you see the comparison, but I do. There you go. I'm going to do a couple more shows later, but this is it for now, and I hope you guys enjoyed.